Hey, I'm Matt,
I'm Kai.
and we're gonna talk about more movies. Specifically today,
That's true.
the newest Fantastic Four movie in 2025, First Steps, and The Social Network, directed by David Fincher. And we shall begin with Fantastic Four. So, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So so
This is
okay.
Mr.
So I
Mr.
think
Doomsday right here
both of us have
in every
seen.
single way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mr. Doomsday that won't be watching Doomsday, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But this I we have both seen a lot of MCU joints over the years. Probably have both been more into it in the past than we are now. So I kind of like the Fantastic Four from what I knew about them. I have not seen a lot of the older movies because I heard they were shit, which they probably are. But I've played Marvel Rivals. I've seen stuff from these characters just from existing. I like them. I like the concept. I like the whole family thing they've got going on. So I was willing to give this movie a shot because there have been some good superhero things recently. I like Superman. I like Matt Reeves' Batman. I liked a lot of these things. So I was willing to check it out. I hated this movie. This is I despise this movie. I think it's really
Jesus.
really bad and I don't want to think about it any longer than we have to for this. This movie is booty and we're going to get into it a lot.
Wow. Jeez, literal MCU hater, and everybody's talking. At least everybody financial side. This movie did really, really good opening weekend because it was really well marketed. But apparently, it's not doing very, very
Ooh.
well, like making up the money. So a little bit bad on Marvel side. But like, this movie got a lot of hype. Everybody was talking about like, oh my god, this is the greatest. Like, it is the greatest adaptation of Fantastic Four. Technically, no competition there. But like people were actually saying it's a very, very good movie. People I trust on the internet and like it, and also people in person that I trust. A lot of people told me it was a lot of fun. And my hope was this combined with the Thunderbolts, which is the most recent MCU movie that was very, very good and universally liked by a lot of people. This plus that maybe would give the MCU a good like a foundation for what's coming next. Because I every like Kai mentioned that both me and him like have been talking about how we don't that the recent MCU has been kind of falling off. And while I would say I'm a much bigger fan of the MCU than he is, I I also acknowledge that yes, the MCU has been falling off, but also I keep holding out hope just a little bit, just enough that like are they gonna release something good that puts them in a good direction? And usually last second when I'm about to fall off hope, they always release something good, whether it's Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, Spider-Man No Way Home, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Loki, Thunderbolts, and then I was hoping that I was kind of hoping for Fantastic Four, but I will say Fantastic Four had the biggest hype around it. So when I came into the theater, I was pretty excited, and I I liked it. It's a good, very different. It's a good movie. It's a good movie for a lot of reasons, and I did really I did like it for a lot of different reasons. And the more I think about it, the more there's one big aspect I don't love about it, which I'll get into spoilers. But I think I like the movie as a whole. Very different from what Kai thinks. I feel like the reason why he doesn't like it that much is because it is kind of a very much an MCU movie, but also not an MCU movie in a lot of ways. So this is going to be an interesting conversation.
Okay. Okay, I'll
Uh,
tell you right now. I'm like reconsidering my thoughts on other MCU movies because of this movie. That's the problem. Is that I have absolutely no motivation to watch future stuff at this point because this movie I think going into it with like Superman in my brain since after seeing that recently like whooped my expectations so hard because I like in general just compared to like I don't even know how to put the like any other movie. I thought this was such oh, it was I did not get anything out of it. I seriously did not get a single thing of value out of it. And like in my memory, other MCU movies have a little more substance. They feel more focused. They feel like they have a bit more. Like it seems like a lot of them, in my memory at least, have more of a clear vision for what they're trying to say. Even the ones that I don't think of very actively, like a lot of older MCU movies. seem like they had a bit more of like a concrete vision. This seems like such factory slop to me. I seriously will elaborate more, but from like a story technical standpoint, from a script standpoint, I seriously was so bored the entire time. I was frowning through the whole movie, and I cannot say that about many other movies that exist where I did not have. There was no joy in my soul from this movie. It like sapped everything I loved out of me, and I don't think I can continue on living the same way anymore. Um, and I don't think that it's strictly the same as other MCU movies in that right. Some of them for sure. Some of them for sure. We'll get into it. There are some similarities, but I seriously felt like it was like a such. It failed on so many technical levels, and I don't think it was interesting enough from like a basic story concept standpoint to make that back at all. I was bored.
Okay, so I have a lot to say about this movie, and I kind of struggling to find where to start. This is not a bad movie in my opinion. Like this is actually, in my opinion, a pretty decent movie, like a pretty good movie. I genuinely do not mm, like even the harshest critics of the MCU, and I've seen a lot. I don't think even they would like call this like true dog shit or whatever. This is not dog shit. I think it's actually compared to a lot of other recent MCU movies and TV shows, this is actually quite good because it feels more coherent. And I know you'll probably very much disagree with me, but it feels more coherent than a lot of things. Okay, I'll go into like what I think is similar about it when it comes to the MCU and what is different. So it still feels like it has the same tone of the MCU, like the same tone and story structure at the very, very least. And I like that. I'm used to the MCU feeling, and it still feels like a fun MCU movie with new characters that we do like, and it's good. It honestly felt like an older MCU movie, which is kind of what I liked. But the big difference is the huge difference is that it's not taking place in the MCU Earth that we know and love. Like, there's not all the other Avengers stuff and all the other storylines do not take place on this Earth. It is its own completely separate Earth with its own completely separate story. And I think that benefits this movie a lot because we don't have to be thinking about all the movies previously, and we basically have a blank slate of like these four characters that we have never gotten to know before, and they really have a lot of creative freedom to do whatever they want. And I feel like that's kind of what's been limiting the MCU. They always feel kind of like bound and restricted to like follow the rules of the universe that's set up for them, and I feel like they always break it or follow it too closely. So this movie has the freedom to do whatever it wants. And once again, I think that the best thing about this movie, in my opinion, are the four main characters. They feel like a very good, coherent family. They feel like everyone is different in their own way, and I love that. I love that with like superhero teams because like each character being different in different ways helps them interact with each other more. And throughout the whole movie, I feel like there's a genuine threat because now we're not in the MCU universe that we know and love, so we're in this completely new, different universe. And at least for me, I actually wasn't completely sure if like it was gonna end in a happy ending, and I liked that feeling because I liked being able to worry that the heroes aren't going to succeed or not in their journey. And like once again, that's just like one of my different reasons. But like I do think it's a good movie, and I don't see how it's absolute dog shit according to you. So I think I want to go into more detail to like respond to your critiques of genuinely how it's good dog shit because I think the storytelling is fine, bare minimum, and the characters are a lot of fun. So I do want to hear your perspective on why it's true dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, before we get into spoilers, I'll say I do not. I thought that the story was like thoroughly nothing. I thought it was aggressively uninteresting, unambitious. I don't. There was no stimulus there for me, and just in terms of what was happening and why. I did not. At some point, okay, well, no, there was a bit of stimulus. I think at some points it was really stupid, and there were some things that were really frustrating. And I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" Like I was annoyed at some points, but I don't think that it was unique or creative from a story perspective on any level. And like I didn't really expect that too much with this movie. That wasn't really something that when I go into an MCU movie that I expect. But I was really taken aback by largely how what I expected was to try to kind of get something out of these characters a little more. I thought because again, I already kind of liked a lot of them from other material, most of them, some of them. And so, and then like I saw at the very least the potential that a lot of them had, like on a base concept level. But I forgot something about MCU movies, and it's that one, the dialogue's ass in like a lot of these movies.
Jesus Christ,
In
dude.
just like a character will just say their. I will get into specifics later. I really do not like how MCU characters talk. I don't think mainly the quipping is. I know this is like a done to death point, but it's so annoying for me. It is seriously draining where I cannot see these characters as people to a real degree when they're all making the same jokes, regardless of like the kind of person they are. They're always cracking jokes in every scene. It is so annoying. It's really frustrating. It like takes me out of it immediately. I feel like I'm looking the writer dead in the eye every time when this happens instead of getting like immersed in the movie itself. It's so strange, and it's something with like almost all of these movies, even some of the more fun ones, where I can't recognize these people as people in these movies a lot of the time. And that's part. We'll get into other stuff to do with that, but I did not think that I was not attached to these characters at all. I did not find them interesting. I thought they were all flat. I thought they were all boring. I didn't think they did anything interesting with their concepts. At some points, I thought they kind of flubbed them really hard, and I was like, really? I was kind of annoyed by the end of it. I did not find them interesting, and that's kind of what I hoped would hold the movie together a little more. And so that coupled with some of the technical choices, some of the editing, oh god, some stuff like that that was just really took me out of it. Oh lord, oh, it is a disaster to me. I'm curious about what you're gonna say kind of carried it to like good status for you. Because for me, I don't see a grain of substance in this movie, and I really want to know what is kind of giving it that rating in your or like that classification in your mind. Because I was sad.
I am genuinely sitting here for the past couple minutes with my mouth wide open. I don't know what movie you watched. This is not that bad.
Ooh.
Like I think you watched for MCU context. I think this guy watched Thor: Love and Thunder. That is a movie that genuinely is book by book exactly what you said. Exactly what I hate about like MCU. I agree that there's like sometimes the MCU just can't for some reason take a scene seriously and be joking around at all. And I think once again, Thor: Love and Thunder is a perfect example of that, where I hate that movie because it just takes nothing seriously, and I hate it because it's like that. This movie, I don't know where you're getting all of this from. I genuinely am trying to look back in the movie and understand where you're getting this from. I am like the only real character that quips a lot is the fire character. What I forgot his I keep forgetting his
Oh,
name. Flame
Johnny?
on
Yeah.
Johnny. That's the only
Yeah,
real
Johnny,
character,
Johnny.
and like that's how he's always been in every single adaptation in the comics. That's how he's always been.
Uh,
That's how he's always been. That's his main character. That's his the thing has
we're
always
not
been
saying
like
that Ben was in every scene, same thing. I don't know.
no, but I'm telling that's a main character trait that's for Johnny Storm throughout all of the source material. That's like the main thing. He's
Yeah,
always the
that
quippy
Ben
one.
exhibits too in this movie.
What? Wait, I'm sorry. What are you trying to say about Ben?
Ben, the thing. They both in like every scene are
Not
like joking
Ben.
with each other.
The Ben sometimes like
A
for
little
like
bit.
some reason, like sometimes not often. Like and also Mr. Reed doesn't do it at all,
I
and
don't
Sue
know.
Storm doesn't do it at all too. She definitely they both don't do it at all. They maybe do it at
At
the
all?
beginning. Okay, at the beginning. Okay,
Mm.
this is I think you have a fundamental misunderstanding of this movie. Maybe like at the beginning when they're setting up this world and all that stuff, and like setting up these superheroes for what they are and how they save the world and how everybody loves them. Maybe I can see how that's a bit too corny for you or how it's a bit too much for you. Honestly, I it felt like
No,
fun
no, 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 no.
normal.
It's not an issue with it breaking the tone. That's not what it is for me. It's with that each of these characters make the same kinds of jokes,
They don't make
and
jokes,
I don't find
Mister.
them funny.
I
I guess
don't see
which helps.
what
But
jokes do you see that Reed and Johnny make that are the same thing? I genuinely do not see this.
I don't
Sue
remember a
Storm and
specific joke from this movie. But no, I can envision it in my mind.
you can
It's like
envision
the
it, but you can't give like
teleporter,
I'm
like.
someone like you would be able to remember
I
who
don't know
makes a
if I
claim
can
like
think of
this.
a no, 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 no. I can't remember a specific
Okay, then
line in
I'm
this
sorry,
movie. I don't think.
your claim is kind of false because I can remember quite a few things from this movie. I'm very, very lost.
Okay,
I
but
don't
well, you liked it more. I'm not surprised, but
I
I was
I
bored, so I didn't remember anything.
Jesus Christ, I don't know where to start with this. I genuinely don't see where they're making so many jokes to the point where they're like making it not serious. I actually think that one of the good things it does is actually
No, that's
compared
not
to
what
other.
I'm saying. I'm just saying when they do, I think that it's the same unfunny bullshit, and it's annoying.
It's fun. No, wait, are you saying that the joke that they do too many jokes and that they're all not funny?
No, I'm saying that the jokes that are made for each character are not distinct to that character, and I'm saying that the jokes are never funny.
No, well, but
That's what I'm
like
saying.
I swear I thought you said like there's like so many jokes and it's constant jokes and all that stuff.
I'd say I think in a lot of scenes, yeah,
No, I
that it
disagree.
is annoying.
Okay. Number one, do you think that these are all four of these characters are unique in their own way, or do you just see them all the same?
Well, yeah, from like a concept. I mean, I think the main one in my mind is Reed, who has a bit
Personality
different
wise,
of a tone.
personality wise, are they the same characters
Yeah,
to you? You really think
no,
they're the
not
same
quite.
characters? Mr. Reed
No, not
Richards is the
exactly.
smartest man on earth and is like constantly worrying about the baby. Sue Storm
We'll
is
get
like the
into
mother.
that.
Sue
We'll
Storm
get
is the
into
mother.
that.
Okay, fine, debate later. But the Sue Storm is the motherly figure who cares about the baby and has those weird powers, and then she's like everybody all the time, calming
Oh
the
boy.
rest of the people down. The Thing is always kind of like that nice guy, but always I don't. The Thing is always a weird character. I never fully got him. But Johnny is like this very, very
He's my
im-
favorite.
yeah, he's the favorite. He's like very, very out there. He's very, very arrogant. He's very, very, what's the word? He's just very, very out there, like and like impulsive and all over the place. Like I see these characters as a completely different characters. I think the worst one technically is the Thing, only because like he doesn't really have anything that makes him unique.
That's
He's just
interesting.
a good guy who has powers, and like that's the only one I think is a little bit undercooked.
Mm,
But like all the other ones are unique in their own way. I do not see how you see these characters as like same personality wise. They are all very different.
I'd say okay. I think most of the things you said are like so nothing.
What do
Like,
you mean? No, so
like I
nothing. They're
don't
the basis
consider
of what.
most of,
It's how
especially
they
Sue.
act.
We'll get into Sue, but
That's
I
how they
think
act. That's
I
how
don't
they
think
interact with
that
other
the
characters.
how they phrase things and their dialogue is that we'll get. You know what? The social network comparison will be good for this actually because I think that's a good instance of the inverse. Like the a big success of that movie. We'll get into that
Okay, fine, but we're
later.
not in social network yet.
But we should
But
maybe we could get into spoilers. We could get into plot
yes, okay,
specifics
okay.
because
Spoilers, fine. Like,
and
what's the?
character specifics and things like that.
Yeah, okay, fine. Spoilers now. But like, I genuinely, you are like breaking the mold for everything. Like, I'm just confused. Like, it's almost as if you came into this movie completely blind and just like completely negative attitude and like
That's
immediately.
crazy.
It is because you genuinely see nothing. Like, it's not that you didn't like this movie; it's that you see nothing unique or like nothing different about this movie and just like associate the same
One
like
hundred
the way
percent.
you just associate the same MCU stuff with this movie, but like I see something at least like
Yeah.
something at the very very least different and unique. This is not an average MCU movie I've seen because like I know what an average MCU movie
What do
is
you
because I've
think is unique about it? Not just from other MCU movies, but
the fact
what do you
the
think is
fact that
unique
it's in
about
its
it like
own
as
the
a
fact
movie?
that it is in its own actual Earth is actually something I really really love about it because like they're not like trying to like something these guys exist like here and in our Earth and like have to abide by all the rules. They're in their own Earth and thereby I don't know what's actually going to happen because I feel like there's actually a threat there with the whole Galactus threat that like and like something I genuinely do love is that they actually I'll get into Galactus later, but the essence of what he's going to do, the threat of Galactus feels real. Like the everybody is genuinely trying to
Mm,
figure out how to solve this threat because like their world is marked for death, and they're doing everything they can to stop this threat. I feel like they're putting in all of the effort, but they can't make the ultimate sacrifice that the world sometimes needs them to make. And I feel like that and like also in the final battle, I was like pretty invested. Like once again, I'll get into Galactus later, but I felt
oh
pretty
lord.
invested in these characters in like the final battle, and I was genuinely like, I don't like the tone of the movie made me like genuinely invested in the climax and be like, oh my god, like I'm actually not sure if it's gonna end entirely well. And it's been a while since an MCU movie has actually been able to do that for me because I've just gotten bored by the end. I was like, I know exactly how this is gonna end. I didn't know how this movie was going to end, and I just feel like it did a lot more things differently. Once again, it developed these four characters that feel distinct, unique, and their own thing, like their own family. I love the fact that it feels like actually a family. This world is a little bit underdeveloped, yes, but it feels I like its retro 60s vibe and how kind of once again it played around like it has a different visual style than a lot like maybe not color-wise, like maybe not like cinematography-wise precisely, but like different world, different visual style than previous MCU movies. And I found that very, very fun and very, very engaging. So the thing I can compliment this movie on the most is it's at the very, very least different and unique from other MCU movies. I don't see how you're maybe like there's like I guess there's like a certain cadence for the MCU dialogue a little bit, but like that I've kind of gotten used to, and I kind of see your point a little bit, but like story wise, concept wise, it feels like a unique, fresh take on a superhero movie. It feels like something I would see from a comic. Like these are the superheroes, these are developed. We don't have to focus on all the other world stuff in the MCU anymore. These are cool new developed heroes that are saving this Earth, and like a lot of people really, really like them. And now they find this huge threat that's actually threatening to not just end themselves, but end their entire world unless they make the ultimate sacrifice of sacrificing their child. I thought that's very, very interesting, and I guess we'll also get into the child stuff a little later. But the whole setup, at least the whole setup of the story, the way it's mostly executed, was stuff I like. At least it was something I hadn't seen in other MCU movies, and I just felt like it was kind of cool, like the way they did it. And like once again, the family unit is a lot of fun to watch. So the least I can say, I don't think it's like like can be mixed in with other MCU schlob, like you're trying to say. So I guess you can go into more specifics of what you like and what you don't like.
Yeah, well, oh boy. I mean, okay, I'll say that also. I think for me, it's not just as an MCU movie, but as a movie in terms of my interest with it. Where like I haven't seen most of the other MCU movies in a minute. Maybe my opinion, because I'm curious on a lot of them. What if how my opinion would change now? Because it's been a long time for some of them, and some of them are better in my memory, some are worse. But I have no idea how I would see them on like a rewatch. But I think a big thing for me that probably altered our perspectives on this a lot was the degree to which we felt the tension or we were invested in like the struggle of it, quote unquote. I did not see any universe where anything bad happened, like significantly bad
I
happened in
did,
this movie.
because I didn't
Where
know
I
this
didn't think
world that
any
well.
character could die. I didn't think any of that stuff could happen. I didn't give a motherfucker about the fact that it was set on a different Earth. I like that glazed over in my mind completely. It had no relevance to me because again, I'm just seeing this as like a movie. I don't care that if it how much it ties into the other MCU things. I don't care about the with any of those movies at all. My favorites are
Enough.
also often the ones that are like self-contained, but that's not a requirement for. I just don't value how much they tie into the other stuff as much as I do their own movie. But for this one, Fantastic Four first steps with the Doomsday coming out, which has Doctor Doom, which is the Fantastic
Okay,
Four's
I don't think we
villain.
need to get into
There was
the.
literally
It's
no
one
world
scene.
where any of them. Well, no, my point is that there's no world where any of them would die or have any significant change to their like status. I
Well,
didn't. There
actually,
was
I
no, to me
disagree. I
there was
felt like
no
there would be
tension in the
something
entire
new.
movie.
Because they needed something to set up
I didn't think
the
so.
Avengers. Yes, they did. Like Avenger, for example, like spoilers for Thor Ragnarok. That's actually something interesting that MCU usually used to do. They always the post credit scene used to always, or the post credit scene, or the ending of the movie in general used to always leave kind of a cliffhanger of like, oh my god, that's gonna happen next. And I think they did this well here. But like there are other MCU movies that have done it spectacularly, like the spoilers for Thor Ragnarok and Infinity War, but Thor Ragnarok's ending was when they're like, "Oh my god, yes, we finally saved Asgard and we're going to go off to another universe and like rebuild our civilization." And literally the last shot is Thanos' entire ship about to swallow them whole. And then what's the beginning to the next movie? Thanos and his army massacred all of Asgard. So all that hope we had for the previous movie, all that hope and that good ending completely shattered in the beginning of the next movie. That's cool that's actually something I liked, and that's why I was actually kind of thinking of that a little bit
Kind of
because
neat.
I was like, "Oh my god, maybe they actually end on a negative note or maybe they end on a loss that would set up Doomsday because there's so much on marketing the Avengers Doomsday that would set up Avengers Doomsday and set it up in a way that the heroes are put in such a bad situation at first that we already have context on that we would immediately be invested for that movie. Once again, that's the genius of the MCU, that interconnectedness with the movies. And so that's the reason I actually kind of felt tension because I was like, oh, maybe they're setting up for another movie. Maybe they're setting up for that movie. And because of that, I felt like there would be actually like a real life possibility that they might actually lose, or like they would sacrifice a loss, or they would have to sacrifice something. And with the Sue Storm character, I at the very least thought that she would maybe be unconscious or whatever, like when she was like dying or whatever. But like I did feel that there was a genuine tension there because and also just the way they set up the tension with all that stuff with the whole I thought the whole aspect of what they made, do they sacrifice their only childless baby or save the world? I thought that's actually kind of a cool dilemma from like a parent's perspective, but also as the guardians and heroes of their whole world. Are they willing to make that sacrifice for the rest of the world? As parents they can't, it's their own child, and I felt like that tension there was actually kind of interesting. So yeah, I can go into deeper. I can go deeper into the tension and like why I did kind of really like the tension a lot. But like I guess that is my basic understanding of why I was invested and why I actually felt like there was something to lose. That's probably not the same for you, but let's hear what you have to
Yeah,
say.
I didn't think the baby wasn't gonna die in my mind. Sue
No, no
wasn't gonna die.
kidding.
None
No,
of the main
the
cast was
baby
gonna
was
die.
not going to
That
die at
wasn't even
all.
a premise. The baby's gonna has powers. I already knew that. Just from that, I didn't even get that spoiled on the movie. I just know it has powers in the comics, so that was gonna be relevant. The second Sue fell, I knew the baby would heal her because that was like I felt like it was just obvious what it was building up to. It was just like a predictable screenwriting trope. I think in general, a lot of the things you're referring to where it's like they have to weigh these two things on the line, what are they gonna do? It was like they're obviously not gonna do either of them because that's what makes them a superhero. That's the whole point. Like I thought it was the most like predictable screenplay the world's ever seen, which I kind of expected because it's an MCU movie. This is the norm for these movies to an extent. When I with these movies, I'm not expecting the screenplay to be like subversive. That's not
I
the
neither am I,
expectation
but like
whatsoever.
I thought
But
this
I
was
would
fine.
hope for like maybe some good action, maybe like some fun character work, maybe something like that at the bare minimum. Recent example or relatively recent example that I did think was fun and compelling was Guardians, where that movie's like general Guardians 3. That general structure of that movie is still kind of normal and this that kind of thing. But there are a lot of unique concepts there. There's a lot of unique stuff visually. There's a lot of fun stuff going on there conceptually, which like kept me engaged. And I thought that the characters were interesting. I was more kind of into what was going on there by a lot. Here, I found them all completely flat. I didn't care about any of them. I thought they were all really flat, boring, simple characters. I did not get invested in any of them whatsoever.
Why?
I didn't care. Why would I?
Why specific?
The movie didn't give me a reason to get invested in them.
Why not? There's a lot to get invested in. I felt like they established
What?
at least at least I felt like did you at least like them? Like did you not want to see them
No, I
lose?
thought they were boring. No, I didn't care
Oh
for
my
them.
my
I
god.
didn't care.
I liked it. I mean, I liked them. Like, no, I thought the actors did a good job. I thought like the cool idea. I actually thought that was kind of smart of them starting off the movie literally the first shot of like the pregnancy. I thought that was kind of cool, and like that how they like immediately reveal something they have to lose. They immediately reveal a weakness. I thought that was actually kind of cool, and also the acting on all ends was very nicely done. I felt like there was genuine like. It was genuineness, like everybody was like actually likable, and it was like this feeling of like once again these are not the same people. Like if it was, I would agree with your argument if I felt like these were all like the same people, but they have very different personalities, very different traits, very different like ways of looking at the world. Like Reed's always worried about the child. Sue's like he's the smartest person in the world. He has to take everything into consideration because like everything is like going through his mind so
Okay, we have to
rapidly.
talk about that actually.
Well, so
We
once
have to talk about something there. I gotta pause you for a second because this was
fine.
one of
Well,
my
what is
this
your
was
problem with Reed
the most
Richards?
okay, this is what I was most annoyed by in the movie. This was something that was like probably the most I thought about the movie because it was really this is a bad trope to me that is like very rarely done well, and especially in like a blockbuster type setting. This is such a risky character to do and it like never pays off. Having a character that's supposed to be a super genius in the story kind of means that the plot needs to be a bit tighter because that character needs to not make aggressively stupid logical decisions in the sense that if they're coming up with a plan and they have a few days or something, I need it to not be the worst plan known to God. because it's very annoying to me to be told
Example? Why? What example
exactly that a
of bad
character
plans?
is so smart. Look at all this math stuff that they're going on. And so when the plan is to put in front of the giant man who can sense people's powers to switch out like the carriage for like the fake baby instead of, I don't know, maybe the invisible person could snatch it at the last second while they're in the teleporter, or maybe they could
Is that your
force
only
push it out of the
example?
way when there's like three people with range things. No, it was the whole final plan was really stupid.
Well, Final Plan was the only.
If
What other?
Galactus landed, like if the person would, I feel in general this is kind of normal for MCU movies, but it was really just logically frustrating of how I thought the speed was really inconsistent between Human Torch and Silver Surfer. I thought that was a little annoying, where
Okay,
like Silver Surfer could teleport
those are
across the
just
whole planet
nitpicks.
basically in
Those
an
are just
instant.
nitpicks. I'm sorry, I
No,
just see that as
but it's
nitpicks.
annoying. It does sap the tension out of these scenes
How
where it's
does
like,
it
oh, they're
sap
going
the
to catch up or
tension?
they're not. I don't know.
How does it
Tell me
sap
on
the
the script,
tension? Who
because
cares if?
I don't think there's any way to infer like what's going to happen based on the logic the movie has set up when it's just like, oh, the script will choose based
But
on like the
I
obvious
don't see
outcome
why
here
this is
from
where
like a
you're
writing
judging the
perspective
movie on,
in like
like
every
tiny
scene.
nitpicks and powers, and like I thought. Well, number you okay,
It's annoying.
you don't think Reed is a smart character in my opinion. I think he's actually. I think he
No,
actually.
no, not at all.
Why? What? Why?
He's an idiot.
What? Jesus Christ, you were crazy. One of the best things about I actually think they do is smart. I
Not at
actually
all.
kind of agree with you on certain aspects that making a smart character like very very smart is actually very very difficult. I do like that, but I like how he's not. Okay, he is openly smart, but he kind of like holds back when he needs to because he's like always going through his head and all that stuff, and he's always trying to make the best plan, and he always, as the smartest person on earth, he has to take everything into consideration. And one of my favorite one of the coolest scenes is like when he gets back, when they all get back and realize just how much shit they're in and how much trouble like they are actually in when Galactus is coming to them and marked for death, and how he's like wrote everything on the board and how he's trying to figure out something, anything in his plan. You really feel how, as the smartest man on the earth, even he is running out of answers and is trying and breaking his brain to figure something out. And he feels that pressure because he is the smartest man
It's
on the
stupid.
world.
I don't know.
It's not. He's the. You're stupid because he made one rat. Okay. Specifically, you gave an example. What is the
Okay,
specific
yeah,
example? I don't want to get wrapped up into this like one
okay.
tiny nitpick because I think that's
I think
stupid.
that
But
the
like,
final plan. There's no for me. This is like a really annoying thing where they hold. I never at any point saw him as a super smart guy. I don't, or like a genius or anything. Where, the main instance for me, the final plan is where it was like really annoying because it was like, okay, you clearly are not creative enough to come up with a way for like the generic, oh, the plan's gonna work. Oh no, it's not. We got to do something. Like they clearly didn't think of a way to do that in an
I disagree.
interesting
I thought like I
way. Where
genuinely
like
wasn't
we
sure
did
if it was gonna
everything
work.
great.
Wait, what? Wait, you wait.
What
So
you literally what? What do you
I'm,
mean?
no. Okay, now I'm confused. What
You
are
thought
you?
the plan would work.
No, I thought that it was a smart plan, but I love the I thought it was. I thought from his, it was the best plan he could come up with as the smartest man in the world. But I thought that, but the
I
one
did
with
not think so. I thought a 10-year-old can come up with a better plan.
better plan could you come up with as a 17? I think you're 17 as a 17-year-old. What better
You
plan
put
would you come up?
yeah, you put the no, it's very similar. It's very similar. Instead of having all of the heroes just standing by waiting for Galactus to maybe figure out if the character's real or not, you put the real baby there until like the very, very, very last second, and then either Sue or Johnny, probably Sue because she can turn invisible, at like
He would be able to sense
right
that.
when the teleporter is about to go away, or as late as possible, gets the baby out of there. And then Sue, with her psychic powers that can freeze Galactus in place for like at least 10 seconds, holds him in the teleporter for the rest of the time, and then he teleports away.
He can't. She
Why
can't
the
hold him.
hell would you,
She
when
can't
he
hold him.
lands, you, she did hold him for like 10 seconds there at the
No,
end of the
no. She
movie.
pushed him back. She didn't hold him. She pushed him back.
Okay, pushed him back when he was trying to get out.
That doesn't
There
mean
you
the
go.
same thing. You know that?
Okay. I
Okay,
don't
there
see
you
how.
are. Wait, because
We know she can hold things with her powers.
yeah, but not someone that big.
I'm saying that in general, there was no. I think it's insane
I
to
think you're
have the
genuinely
plan
nitpicking this.
hinge
I
on
think you're
something
genuinely nitpicking
for a
this to
fact.
death.
No, this is such a simple thing, though. This is such a. It's that was annoying. Again, it wouldn't be as big of an issue if you didn't have it be like, this is the smartest guy ever. He's coming up with this plan that's like the
Other
worst, stupidest plan on the planet that
Oh my
could
god.
literally never work.
Oh my god. It's one
But there's
teleporter
no
and they had
world where it would work. Any.
Oh my god. This is sad. I just
Yeah,
wow.
you know
Because
Galactus can see that it's a baby or not. You know that. You can literally know that. That was so annoying. That's
Like
again,
how
if
is
that
this?
was the only
It's
issue
a
with the
crazy
movie, I would
celestial
still
being.
like it,
That's
but it
beyond this.
wasn't.
That's
But
beyond his
this is
earth.
like a specific annoying thing.
Okay, okay. I think we should move on from this because this is a specific nitpick that you have. But like, still, like,
Yeah,
I
sure.
think this is the problem that you have. Like, I don't know why that day you went into the movie theater and you just turned on your nitpick ass brain and like, where you nitpick because like it genuinely sounds
What?
like you were nitpicking everything about it, and that's
This is
so.
if
And
there's something of this level. No, it's because I think everything was wrong with it, and there was
okay,
nothing good about
one
it.
of my favorite
This is
climaxes, one of my
this is why I'm
favorite
saying this.
climaxes of all time is in Mission Impossible 6, and there's a couple things, and there's quite a few things I can nitpick there, but I don't because I still find myself invested and interested in the climax. But like, and as a whole, I think the plan is
Well, yeah, I
pretty
didn't find
interested.
I wasn't invested or interested in this movie.
Why
Therefore,
weren't you?
these
Yeah.
things are in my mind more.
Okay, where did you? I don't know where to start with this. Genuinely, like, where did you not get invested with this movie? Like, where was the from the beginning? You were not
I
invested.
wouldn't say it works like that. I'd say that no, I'd say that the characters were not interesting enough to hook me like substantially. I'd say that I was less invested in them as time went on, as nothing was offered there for me. I said this is I did remember a line in the movie actually. It was something along the lines of Johnny saying like, "Oh, I know Johnny likes hot chicks and Johnny likes space," but blah blah blah, and like that kind of line. And I was like, "There's no way that that was the only way you could convey that information." Is talking to the camera. Are you kidding me? And I know you know that's not the only way because a scene like very early in the movie you establish that he's like into hot chicks, that he's a chaser, that kind of thing. Um,
See, he
but
brags
and
about
then
stuff
like
all the time. That's his
immediately after
character.
on the rocket, you're like seeing him be like, "Whoa, let's go on space." But that line is lazy. You didn't need that line there. It was annoying. It felt like him talking to the goddamn camera.
Wait, what
If it was supposed to be a joke, then
you think
okay,
someone
it was
you
bad.
think
So I
someone enjoy
so it was
you think
annoying.
someone showing a genuine moment of enjoying space is lazy and not what?
No, that line is horrible. Do you think a real human being would say to characters that have known them for like years, would say like, "I like this. I know you guys know I like this thing, and I like that." I thought the line was shit. It was really
I mean
unnatural
I
and
don't I
annoying.
mean I think from
I thought
that
it was
line
purely unnatural.
he's like trying to both show off and at the same I think he's trying to show off and at the same time like
Like, show
also
off.
like he's trying to show off but simultaneously not show like a sign of like weakness or whatever like show a sign that he's interested at the same time like I don't know I don't think you need to dig too deep into that. He's an arrogant bratty guy who says and does whatever he wants. I That's not something if it was maybe Reed
No,
Richards
it's
who
not the
said
fact
something
that
like that.
that's his personality. It's that the
It is the
line is
fact that it's
bad.
his personality. He
Any
says
character on
random
the earth could
things.
say that, and it would be annoying. It's not his
No.
personality. It's the
Oh my
line.
god, he's a bombastic character who says a lot of crazy stuff. It's in the comics. It's in who he is. This
Okay,
is
my
just who
point
he
is
is.
that that's an inhuman thing to say just because it sounds like you're talking to the camera. I do not think a person would exposit that information in that way,
Oh my god. Okay, yeah,
especially in the context of people that they've known for that long.
it's a
And
superhero
there are a
movie. You
lot
don't
of lines like that.
It's a superhero movie. One Some of the greatest lines of all time. I don't think are like lines that people would say naturally in real life. You have to take some things for granted.
No, yeah, and well, I'm annoyed in general when line. I mean, again, I think there is room for that in a superhero movie that's trying to have
That's
a
my
like a
point. That's my
cornier, lighter
point.
tone. I
My
see
bad.
that in general. Like, I like the well, maybe we'll talk about them some other day, but I like the Raimi Spider-Man movies, and they have some stupid ass lines, but I just find them funny in
I
those
don't like
movies,
the Raimi
like
Spider-Man
ironically or
movies.
unironically.
I don't like those
That's
movies,
fascinating.
ironically,
But
because
I
I find them
okay,
too
that's
corny. But
funny.
that's different.
That's
But
hilarious. But
it is
no,
because they're
like
too
in this
corny. But
movie, things like that, if I'm not finding it funny, and it is literally like expositing directly to the camera, not to the characters, it doesn't serve
it's
a
not
purpose in that way.
dispositing. Oh my god,
If it's a purposeless line, then it's annoying to me.
he's arrogant and bratty. He does a lot of stupid stuff. It's to make sure that. Oh my god, I think you're going in circles with this. I think we're okay. Let's try and
What do
like
you
get this
mean?
back on track. Okay, so you don't like the characters at all. I like the characters. I think the
No.
characters are a big redeeming quality of the movie. Um, Once again, I think the tension was good because I genuinely felt like I liked all the solutions that Reed did. I actually liked the whole teleportation thing, like because he's like broadcasting to the world and he's like trying to figure out the solution and like the fact that everybody is like trying to holding on together to try and work together because they all realize that being divided does not help. You guys, how we all have to unite as one and help each other through this earth. I thought that was really interesting. And then when Silver Surfer came and destroyed all the teleportation devices that were helping them, I felt like that was a genuine loss, and actually that moment was one of the moments where I was like, "Oh shit, is there actually a possibility that that this might not end in the best way?" Cuz it was an example. Actually that moment's actually a cool example cuz like the movie presents this as genuine loss, and I actually agree with that movie in many ways because it's a genuine loss, and now I feel like there's actually a lot to lose because they don't have enough to beat Galactus and all that stuff. And once again, future movies, and I felt like a smart thing to do from their perspective would be to end it on like a sour ending or something like that to be able to set up Avengers Doomsday. And I felt like that was a choice that they were going with. They once again didn't do that, but I just believe that the tension as a whole was there. I was invested in these characters. I genuinely felt as though they were struggling to find a solution to this problem, a solution, and they're on a time crunch. They're supposed to be saving the world, and like I felt Reed Richards' frustration. He's like, "There's not enough time, and I don't have a proper answer," and they keep rounding back to the same only other clear solution that they have, which is sacrificing their child. And as parents, they can't do that. And I found that very, very interesting. I'll go into some specifics about what I don't like, which is like specifically how like after Sue Storm makes one speech, everybody on the world just like sides with them. I feel like that's a little bit too
That was funny.
and that was kind of funny. And I feel like oh, what other things? I just feel like I do you want to get into Galactus yet, or do you want to talk about? Do you want to respond to what I have to say?
I mean, I don't have much to say there. Where I just say that it's like for him, it's just it's a. I mean, I like the concept for the character. I like the concept for all these characters, like individually. I or most of them at least. I've seen them in other things where they're more interesting. Galactus. I think. I mean, okay, the easy one. He's really small,
Yeah, I
at
agree.
least
I
compared to
agree.
what I think would be needed for to sell the threat for him. He's a big guy. Like, I don't know if Galactus should be able to fit within a street. I don't know if he should be able to put both feet in between buildings. I would imagine him stepping on the buildings, like fully. Like that, the scale was not
We're stepping on the
as
city.
compelling as it probably could have been. No, I mean, okay, just within certain shots where like
Yeah,
he,
no, I agree.
I
I know
could
what you're saying. I
imagine him as
agree.
being like a few cars width, and it's like, okay, I don't know, probably like do something.
You know,
It didn't feel like an
yeah.
unstoppable threat in that sense.
You know what? Actually, what I think maybe was the reason all this time, because in the trailers and in the marketing, they marketed this one shot of Galactus's shadow like raining on top of New York City, and I feel like that's what they were trying to go for. And like the moment they got that idea for a shot, they were just like, "Oh, that's cool," but then they were like, "Oh, wait, he has to be a planet eater. So how are we going to do that?" And then I don't think they found a solution for it yet. But I do agree with you. And the irony is that from all the people I like and all the people I trusted on this movie who are all saying that it was very, very good, the one thing that they all united like agreed on was that Galactus was like one of the best parts of the movie. He was a genuine villain. He was huge in scale. You felt like he was like this giant planet eater that from the comics that was a giant threat, like that you genuinely felt could actually destroy this earth without like thinking at all. And this also general like need to consume. That once again, this concept I actually think Galactus is a great villain in concept. He's like this general need to consume. He's not even a normal person, he's an entity. He has to consume. And I actually kind of found that part interesting with the baby. It's like this is a way out for him to not need to consume anymore. So yeah, I just found this character like his the basis of his character very very interesting, and they also found the only actor in Hollywood who I thought previously could convincingly play Galactus in the only way, and I forgot his name, but he's the man from The Witch, Robert Eggers' The Witch, and he was also in like Game of Thrones. But he has a very very unique British accent that's very very deep and very very intentionally like strict and like kind of nerve wracking in a bunch of ways. And I thought he was the perfect character. Once again, all this hype for Galactus I thought was great, and then when I actually saw him, like he was cool, he was big, but also smaller than expected. Like he's a literal planet eater, and something like Earth should be like the size of his like I don't know fingertip or something. Not like he shouldn't be stepping on New York City or whatever, and like through blocks. And once again, the voice actor I feel like I'm just hearing the actor. I felt like I was just hearing the actor and not like a character or like an entity, this need to consume this entity. And by the end in the final climax, while I did find myself invested in the climax, I was still constantly disappointed that like this is supposed to be a planet eater, but he's literally just like normal some normal giant walking through the streets of New York City. It's like I do have a lot to
Is
like.
this not as much? Okay, I agree, but is this not as much of a nitpick as what I was saying about the plan for the
That's
climax?
something completely different because they
I'd say
built
these
up.
are about
No,
like
they're exactly the opposite. He is the main antagonist
that's
of the whole
crazy.
movie. His very presence is supposed to represent a ginormous threat to this entire planet, and I don't feel that. I don't. There are many. Maybe you disagree with that specific example of Reed Richards making a dumb mistake, but in my opinion, there are still a lot of different examples of Reed doing very, very smart things and acting like the smartest guy on Earth. So I disagree with you there. But like Galactus doesn't like I visually what he does. I'll say this like at first when I saw him destroying the whole planet, I was like, oh my god, he's destroying the whole planet. But then like when we just saw him in his throne room, it just felt like he was just sitting there for ages, not doing anything. It didn't feel like he just had consumed an entire planet. So like, and he's on his own ship, and like that ship is like its own thing. I thought at first the ship itself was a part of him, not like he was something different. So like his entire size because it's marketed as a planet eater. So his entire size is completely goes against everything that he's marketed as. And once again, when he's just fighting people, fighting these heroes as like a normal giant in New York City, I think his entire like presence and his entire purpose is kind of like very much diminished. Like it's and also once again the actor, I thought that he would be the perfect choice and he kind of still is, but like I just heard the actor. I didn't hear Galactus. I didn't hear this entity that's need to consume planets. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear like this giant entity at all. Just heard the actor, and I was really disappointed. I was really disappointed by that. And it's ironic because everybody hyped this guy up as like one of the best parts of the movie, and I just didn't feel that way.
Interesting that
Yeah.
people liked him that much. I didn't.
See,
I don't know. Seems
my
there.
biggest complaint
it
is
was
like
it was
I'm
just kind of
actually
a big oaf. I don't know.
like he's the main villain. It's not a wolf. He's the main villain.
It wasn't great.
No, that's my main nip. That's my
Like,
main like.
I'd say
That's
that
my
I
main
weigh
problem with it.
this about like evenly with how I weigh like the believability of one of the main characters or like the logical consistency of most of the story, but especially the climax. I'd say I value both of these a fair bit, but yeah. No, that was an issue.
Also, I guess the happy ending was just a little
I
bit
want to get into
too.
something else on a technical level because we've been on a lot of story stuff. I
I
do
mean,
want to
I
because
guess
I mentioned
technical
this
level,
before.
it's like technical level, it's like other. I guess like there's nothing on the technical. Oh no, also the robot that they had that takes care of the kitchen was an actual robot. So like technically, there's a couple of cool things, and also I
Yeah,
like
that
the
was fun.
world. I like the world they created, like the '60s retroactive look. Once again, I feel like it's shot and like cinematography wise, it's similar to other MCU movies, but like the world itself is a lot of cool on a technical level. So like I guess I'll have and also Galactus when you take out the planetary aspect, his design is really really cool in the way they and his whole like ship is really really cool. And also I think my favorite scene in the movie is the whole space chase when Sue's giving birth and they're escaping Galactus while Silver Surfer is chasing after them and they have to go through a whole black hole. That was my favorite part of the movie, and on technical level, that was a lot of fun. Um, yeah, I guess you'll probably say something about how it looks
I mean,
like other MCU movies and all that stuff. So go ahead.
well, in terms of how it was shot, yeah, 100%. I thought it was pretty similar to those movies, but
Okay,
I
yeah.
kind of expected that to a degree. I guess the action, mainly due to that it wasn't like a hand to hand kind of vibe, so that kind of helped it inherently. But I didn't think it was as claustrophobic as some MCU movies are with their action. There are some MCU movies where it's like close up, shaky cam, close up, throw the camera everywhere, like where I think it's like
You talking about
completely
Winter Soldier?
like nothing to look at. It's like a sentient blur.
Are
That
you
I
talking about
think that
Winter
movie comes
Soldier?
to mind. Yeah, where
Yeah,
that's an example of
that's more,
that's
but that's more
yeah.
of a ground. That's more of a grounded
I
feel.
think there's a few
It's a
movies
very
where
very
I
different.
feel that.
It's a very different type of movie.
No, yeah, but that helps the action here a bit, where that isn't an issue. I thought that again, I didn't feel the tension in the action, so it didn't matter that much. But there were some things in this movie that were a little annoying. I thought that there were some really jarring cuts at multiple points, and I'm like, what? It was a real live action Avatar as Airbender in
Are you
that
talking
sense, where
about
there was
are you
some
talking about
smash
editing
cuts where I'm like,
specifically?
why?
Are you talking about
No,
editing
I'm
specifically?
talking about the cuts where at various points I'm like we're like really harsh and kind of out of nowhere. and just kind of took me out of it a little bit.
So you see,
It was weird. It wasn't the whole time, but it happened enough where I thought I should mention it. It's like, what? I didn't expect that to be a problem. Where it was just
so
jarring
you
and
see,
weird.
I guess, I don't. I think the big difference between you and me is like, if the editing is not as a whole like very bad or like in your face bad, like there are a lot of movies where like maybe shaky cam or other things like or certain cuts do stand out for me. But like as a whole, if your editing as a whole isn't like atrocious, I'm not gonna really notice it, and I won't really care like editing specifically unless it's like very in your face, like very terrible. I'm not gonna care that much. So like with specific cuts, I don't nitpick those because I just don't give a crap. Like, but
Oh, those,
yeah,
those
that
do stick out to me though. And I will say on the this is I think this is an issue with a lot of superhero movies. I didn't think again, I mentioned them a fair bit when we talk about superhero movies, but the Matt Reeves Batman and the and recent Superman movie, I thought they did have a lot of more motivated choices with their camera work, either to kind of present a certain tone to make the action more kinetic, to something like that, to give it a certain vibe, that kind of thing. I thought, or just to kind of communicate something thematically that wouldn't be sold as well otherwise. I thought that they had a lot of good cinematography and a lot of good just shots individually. Just thinking back to that, I can remember a lot of individual shots in those movies. That's not a thing with MCU movies very often for me. I think most of the time it's just like dialogue scenes, camera A, camera B, like lighting wise, just kind of flat. This is the standard, and it's an annoying standard where I'm not
I do agree
visually
with you on
getting
that. Yeah,
anything out of most scenes.
like I
And
agree
I will
with
say this
you.
is a very minor nitpick. I just found it very funny. This is something that happens in a few movies, and it's really weird to me, and I don't know why this keeps happening. Did you notice the random fires going off in Galactus's ship? And I don't mean like the lava. I mean like on the tubes and stuff. There would be like
Yeah.
3 seconds of a fire plume, and then it would just go away.
Yes.
What? Why does this happen? What on like the on like a walkway? What is the
You
why?
see everyone.
Why does this happen?
You see everyone. He has a
No, this is a
he.
really minor thing. This is a
I
really, really
don't
minor thing, but
nitpick
it's
this
really, it was just
hard.
funny.
I don't nitpick this hard unless it
That
like
might have
really
been the one
nagged
I
me.
smiled the most in the movie because it was funny. No, I didn't nag me that much. It was just funny.
Wow.
I just remembered
No,
it.
but like
This is something. This is in a few action type
this
movies. I
plus
don't
is like
understand.
this plus Kai's general lack for like like these characters like is sad. It's like such low
I
expectations
like
in
that.
every
It's
way.
weird because I you mentioned it before. The Thing is my favorite Fantastic Four member, like outside of this movie or even in general.
Oh,
I like him the most. Where I think there's something more emotional with his premise, and I think the way he contrasts the others is it's like really important to the dynamic for me. I
hmm.
thought, and in general, just his vibe, the fact that most of them are like sitting around in the tower with their normal spandex, the fact that you see him more like with a normal down to earth outfit, that he, despite kind of having the worst situation out of any of the members, like he turned a goddamn rocks, like he's not a human anymore physically. Like the fact that he got dished the worst punishment by this situation and yet still goes out to like talk to people, like walk around on the streets, tell people that kind of vibe. I like that. I think that makes him kind of a more emotionally compelling superhero on in a way that I think like a lot of base concept superheroes, you could say like Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman, have something to keep you more emotionally hooked to them on a base level. I think that he's the same way in that. Was it used in this movie much? No, no, not really. It did not have any relevance to the plot like at all. It was never like important to the story.
I
But so
actually you kind of did
great,
change
thanks.
my mind a little
Like
bit
I can't
early.
really give this movie that much for that.
I'll say this: you did change my mind a little bit. Like
Mm.
earlier on, I said like I thought the Thing was the least developed character out of them all. I actually disagree. I realize now he's the most like hidden nuance, which I actually agree with you now. I Everything you just listed, I think is pretty well present in the movie. I actually think it's very very well present in the movie. He's going out in the streets. He takes joy in like helping other people and like also getting close with other people and knowing other people like certain like who they are and just like being a good person despite the fact that he lost a lot of what makes him human. And I think maybe my critique of him is his role in the family dynamic. I feel like he's a very strange like in the whole family dynamic. I feel like his role is like the least emphasized, but I now realize that might be for like specific point I'm not exactly seeing yet. But as a whole, I think I think his character is actually pretty interesting and pretty good, and I just maybe like I didn't look at it that deeply at first, but like he has the most. Yeah, I do agree with you. He has the most kind of to hide. I think that's kind of a cool aspect of his character. And once again, he lost the most of his humanity, so he has the most to show. And do really like that part of his character. But yeah, as a whole, like once again, I think as a whole, the
Well,
best
okay.
part of
I
this
the
movie
thing though
was
is that the
the
thing.
thing of the thing.
I mean,
Yes.
okay. My problem though is that is that everything I just said is like the very basic premise of the character at like a surface level, and I think that that being included in this movie was more of a checklist kind of thing than something they actually wanted to utilize. Because again,
Oh,
it had no relevance to the
I thought
story.
the
At
whole
no
religious
point
scene.
was
I thought the whole
it did not
Judaism scene
matter
was
to
pretty
the
cool.
story. Every scene where that was shown did not matter. Like
Yeah,
it was
okay.
fluff basically.
That's true. But like once again, it shows enough to
Again, I'd say that like the whole thing of him on the street with his New Yorker outfit, that's something that's like just completely core to the character. Like I mentioned, I think I already mentioned Marvel Rivals. Like they added that costume of him with like the hat and the glasses and that fit. They added it to the game within like a week of it being released because it's just such a normal, like common outfit the character uses is just like quote unquote iconic to the character. Like I didn't see that inclusion in this movie as a purposeful decision. I just saw that as them abiding by who the character is on a really base level. And again, I'm not the type of person to be like comic accurate, good, automatically. I don't care. If they're not doing anything with it, I don't give a shit. I don't find it interesting and it doesn't really help the movie to be very much. But
I guess
that's why I
so.
was more like invested in the character going into it, but that's not they didn't help the movie for me that much because they didn't use it.
I guess so. I mean, like, I kind of do see what you mean with like the whole checklist thing. I still think that like through those scenes they did show who he is as a character, and like I found him very very interesting. I will say maybe my problem with him is like the family dynamic. Once again, he wasn't as well like when they everyone was interacting with each other. I felt like he had the most like not unique at trait when like interacting with a family member. Like I always felt like, oh, like that's kind of a normal thing that a normal person would do if he was like interacting with everybody else. Meanwhile, I kind of like the unique reactions of all the other characters. But once again, I feel like they made him like a very interesting,
Mhm.
sympathetic character. Like the whole New York street thing out off it. Like I like the black and white cookie aspect, and also he gets to know this young woman, and also like gets closer to them. Like with the whole religion thing and like the whole Judaism thing. And I thought that was a cool,
That did
nice
not
scene.
matter though. There was like
Didn't
that
yeah, it
that
didn't
was
matter,
that
but
didn't
no,
matter
it showed how
though.
even during like the world ending, he's still willing to open that part of himself out and not forget about that self, even as a superhero, and like still embrace that side of himself, even when the world is ending, because he's not willing to forget or drop that side of himself. I thought that was pretty interesting, but yeah, like as a whole, I guess like he's kind of a mixed bag for me as a whole, and I guess technically more mixed for you, but yeah, do you want to start wrapping up thoughts on this movie or what? Because we've had
Yeah.
it doesn't seem
Um
like we're gonna be able to
yeah.
make convince each other of the other way around.
No, I doubt it. Yeah, no,
So,
I did not get anything out of this. I thought it was boring. I
oh,
didn't like it. I wouldn't. I guess if you like MCU movies a lot, like you're chill with the formulas they use, and you're like fine with just, oh, I like these characters. I want to see them, and then you got that. Like clearly, people. I mean, well, I guess on opening day at least, that demographic will see the movie no matter what, and will keep seeing these movies no matter what. Um, but I do not think it provides like anything unique to the planet as a movie. I found
my,
it so
oh
boring and
my
like
God.
substanceless and generic and normal and at some points kind of incompetent in like weird, annoying ways. I had like no strong feelings toward it while I was watching it, apart from some faint annoyance at some stupid things. I'm giving this movie. I guess I could bump it up 1 point, but right now I'm giving it a one. It was
Dude,
pointless to
come
me.
on.
I'm not
It's
watching it
that
again. And it not
bad?
only
Oh
am I not
my,
watching it again, I'm not watching other MCU movies in the future because I don't care. Maybe
oh
the other
my.
movies were this bad too. I like for maybe I would rate a lot of the other movies the same
Watch
way
the
if I rewatched
Thunderbolts
them,
at
but
least.
I
Watch
don't
the
think I want
Thunderbolts at
to
least. I
at this
think you'll
point.
find that a little bit
No,
more
I'm
interesting.
not watching that movie.
It's a good movie. Everybody
You
likes
why
it.
would I'm not doing this? There
Oh
are
my
other
God.
good movies that I don't have a reason to think I won't like.
Jesus, I don't.
No, I'm done with
This
MCU movies. I'm not. I
I
don't care.
don't know
I'm not
what
watching these things
this guy. I don't know why his expectations are so low. Why he's like this harsh. I don't like.
because I watched it. It was boring.
It
I didn't
wasn't
like
that
it. I
boring.
don't
And oh
care.
my God. I guess I'll say my thoughts. Like, okay, I had some genuine issues with it, and I guess I'll also say that like some parts of the climax I thought were kind of like very very rushed, and some parts of the movie I thought were also very very rushed in a lot of ways. I thought like just for plot convenience, they made some choices. But as a whole, the main draw to this movie were the main four characters and them interacting with each other as a family to feel like as a family and not as a team and as a family that they're going to try and work together to get through the situation, how they can contribute different things and different unique aspects of their characters and how they're all unique in their own way, and that's how they make the team so interesting and the family so interesting to like combine together. I thought that was my main thing I was looking for, and that's honestly what I got. And I really enjoyed these characters. And I'll say this, like in Avengers Doomsday, I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing these characters again because they're a lot of fun and I enjoy them. Everything else surrounding it, there are like parts that I've enjoyed and there are parts that I did not enjoy, like with once again the Galactus and the whole threat. And I do think the movie, I wish the movie ended on a little bit less of a happy ending than it did. I like the post. I'm interested in the post credit scene. That it didn't really show much of anything. Just like a reminder that Avengers Doomsday is coming out, which is a bit cheap, but like it's kind of they try to like keep the hype up, which I get it from a marketing perspective. But yeah, as a whole, I got the bare minimum of what I wanted, which is a compelling cast, good main four characters, good family, good team. I had fun with them. I had fun watching them, and I enjoyed seeing them. I thought the cast did a good job. So yeah, I will give this movie once again hit for him 5 out of 10 is like if you get above 5 out of 10, it's good apparently according to if you get it for me it's 6 out of 10 is
say
a
5
fail.
out of 10 is mid and 6 out of 10 is above mid.
No, for me 6 out of 10 is a
That's
fail.
crazy. 6 out
For
of
me,
10
six out of
you're
ten is a fail
failure.
because I'm going based off that. So
That's so funny.
I would give this movie a solid. I would give this movie a solid 7, maybe leaning towards the 7.5, but like
That's
a
crazy.
solid 7. In no world. I don't think anybody in this world would give it a 1. Even the biggest haters of the MCU that I've seen
Anybody.
online are not giving this thing a 1. They're not like even close. They're actually saying that this is kind of a refresher. And I was
Well,
like, okay, this is at least a little bit. This is better than what we've
refresher.
been getting. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I don't know how like low your expectations are. Jesus, wow. I
My
just
expectations were fine going in. I thought maybe it would be a good, refreshing, better thing because superhero movies have been more interesting to
I
me
don't know
lately because
what
there've been
like.
some good ones, but no. No,
Well,
it
you
didn't
only
happen.
watched one good superhero movie recently, which was Superman, and you refused to watch the other superhero movie that's been called very, very
Okay,
good, unique,
well,
and interesting, Thunderbolts. So that's kind of on you. So
I'm glad I refused. I'm glad.
what? It's a good movie. It's a fun movie. Oh my god. I don't know
I'm
why
sure.
he's
No,
trying
but
to.
I mean, I'll be watching the next like DC like James Gunn joints, and I'll be watching the next Batman because I'm excited for those
Everybody's gonna be
because I
watching the
have a
next
reason to
Batman.
be.
Everybody's gonna be watching the next Batman because that was a very
Hell yeah,
different genre, and plus the Batman is its own thing. It's like it's technically part of the
because
DCEU,
it was
but not
cool.
really. It's a good, yeah, it's cool. It's a
Yeah.
famous director like getting his take on a very famous character, and I like that. So yeah, that's cool. But okay, up next, we're talking about a completely different movie, something radically different. It's kind of cool
Hey.
how we always do movies that are could not be more different.
Oh yeah, keep it
Um,
spicy.
yeah, it's kind of cool. We are now talking about The Social Network, which came out in 2013 and directed by David Fincher and written by Aaron Sorkin. Now, Aaron Sorkin for me is so far what I've seen the best writer in Hollywood that I've seen, screenwriter. He has written 2 movies and written 3 movies that I okay, 3 movies that I heard. A third movie that I heard is like really great in writing. I haven't watched it yet, called Moneyball, which I really want to watch. And he's written The Social Network and A Few Good Men. I think that's what it's called. It's the movie with Tom Cruise and the whole court scene where like the criminal court and the in the military. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. But and those are some of the best. Like yeah, it's called A Few Good Men. That's some of like the best writing I've ever heard. I've ever seen in my life. And The Social Network, I'm hands down, as far as I've seen, hands down, I think the best written movie I've ever seen. By screenplay alone, best written I've ever seen. And I don't even think there's even a
Screenplay.
competition. The dialogue is
Interesting.
genuinely genius in this movie. I don't know. I have never heard dialogue that sounds so consistently good. There's like a cadence to it. And like I've never heard it that consistently good. The story always intriguing, always getting me more, and I feel like I'm in this complicated world, but there's always something with dialogue that's always able to make me not only understand what's going on in this complicated story, but also have me invested at the same time. And it is like I have so much to say about how much I love this movie. So I guess I'm more interested to hear your thoughts because you don't have much experience with this background and this director and this writer.
I don't. That's true. So yeah, I was curious about this movie because you gassed this movie hard. You said that this, I get the whole best writing you've seen in a movie was interesting because that's a big, that's like the compliment to me. That's like the best, one of the biggest compliments you could ever give a movie. So I was very curious, and it's good. I liked it. It was fun. I'll say that 100% the best thing about it probably was the dialogue, where I thought that basically every scene, it was, this is so refreshing compared to Fantastic Four, where it was incredibly purposeful with what it was doing with the dialogue, where consistently it's giving you information while not almost all the time, 99% of the time, while feeling very natural, while feeling like it belonged in the scene, where it was doing something for the character dynamic, it was doing something to flesh out each character, it was doing something for the plot, it was doing something thematically, where every line and exchange felt like it was doing a lot. And it felt like after every scene, I could think back to the previous one and be like, ooh, this might have meant this, or this could be implying this. It was very, that was kind of where most of the entertainment value was for me, where I thought that the characters and the dialogue were consistently compelling and interesting, and it definitely, that's largely what kept me engaged. I'll say that I had no idea that this was an Atticus Ross, Trent Reznor joint. I did not know that going into it, so I was very pleased when I saw their name on the credits. And yeah, the score delivered. It was very, it was interesting. It did not, again, as per usual with them, it didn't insist the tone. It was unique, just instrumentation wise. It was like it enhanced every scene it was present, and it did not distract from anything. Their usual work, it was in that sense. It was great. That was a very good asset for it. Um, the story is something that's I liked it. It was interesting consistently. It was engaging. But it's also like kind of real, which makes it harder to gas in that sense for me. Because like, I mean, it wasn't fully like written for the movie, so it's just different considerations are made there. That doesn't like take away from my score. It just means that like I have less to say in that sense. But it was well adapted for what they were trying to do. I really liked the framing device of kind of, I won't get into spoilers actually, but the way that they kind of conveyed the story and aspects of it definitely helped. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I would not, best written movie I've seen. I would not say that. I see why you would. I am not there, but it was good. It was fun. I liked it for sure.
It's holding you back. I genuinely cannot think of anything wrong with this movie. I can't.
Interesting.
Like I'm
Yeah, I thought. I mean, like that. I thought there were some. It was very rare. It was like a couple of lines, but there were some where it felt a little like it was maybe like two in the whole movie where it was like kind of talking to the camera a little. I got the energy, and where like sometimes it felt there were a few things where it's like emphasize. Again, I can't entire. It's not a huge problem when I think it is serving a purpose in the context of each character when they say things like this. There was a lot of hyping up of the statistics in like almost every scene of being like, we got this many hits, yes, this number, this one, which again, I most of the time the characters saying it fits. I understand why they're doing that. It fits them as a person. It was still a little distracting sometimes, where I felt like it was implied more than shown with some of the editing, just like in terms of what was shown visually. I think that's my biggest issue with the movie in general, which has nothing to do with the screenplay, which was just that the kind of editing and cinematography was fine. It was normal. It wasn't insane. Like it was just yeah, it presented what was happening. It wasn't distracting. It was just there weren't that many shots where I was like, whoa, like it didn't blow my mind away in that sense. It was fine. But
honestly
that's
disagree. I thought
which
that the
isn't
cinematography,
amazing.
the kind of like bland, kind of dark tone of cinematography. It's weird cinematography, but I felt like that was actually kind of interesting and engaging. And I thought the editing as a whole was actually kind of cool. Like it was, I didn't focus on it too much, but like there were some cuts that like kind of impressed me, like the way it kind of like come back and forth between the tech and all that stuff. And my favorite, another favorite like aspect of the movie is like the screenplay, but also the way it framed its story. I have a very big liking to certain movies that kind of cut back and forth between like I don't know, a court scene or like or an interrogation or like
Yeah,
the
that was
movie
smart.
starts with a conversation and then the whole movie cuts back to what actually happened, what led to that conversation being like told and all that stuff. Like Oppenheimer did it. The um, there's another movie. Jesus Christ, I forgot. There's another very very famous movie with a very famous plot twist that did it. I completely forgot what it's called. Uh, I'll just
Just a
move on,
few.
but like but like Oppenheimer did it, a lot of other great movies did it, and I think that way to frame your plot and your narrative is something that it still kind of feels unique, and I like it. I like how like starting off where your movie kind of ends is really really unique, and I love the way it cuts back and forth, and maybe one of my favorite scenes of all time is. I guess we can. Do you want to go into spoilers now?
We can go into
'Cause
spoilers. Yeah, we both recommend it. Obviously, it's cool.
there's not much. Yeah, there's not. Oh, speaking of which, I think I would. I know obviously Kai wouldn't, but if you're looking for a fun time with like fun characters and enjoy your characters, then I think I would personally recommend Fantastic Four First Steps. So that's just to clear things up. But
Okay.
with this, so my favorite scene that genuine like already I was loving the movie, but the thing that really made the movie for me that like everything came together, it was like a perfect puzzle piece. Everything coming together was the scene where Eduardo, Andrew Garfield's character, figures out how he was screwed over by Mark Zuckerberg and how he was screwed over with the by and Edward Saverin, and it all culminated. We all kind of already knew it was slowly happening that like Eduardo was getting further and further from like the company and everything, but like when it was finally revealed, the final twist and exactly why it happened, and his final reveal of like his final breakout and scream about like what he was doing and like how he did so much and just the true animosity and anger that he had towards this person who he for such a while saw as a friend and now completely screwed him over and is just really really interesting, but the best part about it is how for the entirety of the movie we cut back and forth between these interviews and what's happening in real life, and we're still wondering, oh my god, they're on different sides, but why did that happen? And it's always teased that like it was a terrible business decision that where Mark screwed Eduardo over, and like when it's finally revealed what it is and what happened, I like it was just, like it was a perfect climax and culmination of everything the movie was building up, and I really really loved that so much. But like I don't. There's just so much to talk about with this movie. I feel like I. What do you think? I feel like I want to hear more of your thoughts. Oh, by the way, you
Yeah,
were
that
you.
was
Wait, sorry, quickly. Were you mentioned before these two famous people that you know like with sound editing or something?
Oh, no, with the score, with the
Oh,
music. Yeah, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, yeah. They score a lot of things. I mean, they're like the most like utilized popular
what
like
did they
composer in
score?
Hollywood right now, probably.
Wait, what did they
Like, oh
score?
my God, like everything. Hold on. Let me just Google to give
I
some
would have heard.
examples
I would have
you
heard
would
about this.
have heard of.
Are they like as big as Hans Zimmer and
Trent.
Ludwig Göransson?
They are more popular than Ludwig
There's no
Göransson,
way they're
probably.
more
Hold on.
popular. I would have heard about them if that's the case.
I'm shocked you haven't. This is interesting to me that
These
you
are
haven't
who are
heard of
these
these two.
guys? What are their names?
Oh God, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Okay, let's see. Challengers, Soul, Bones and All. That it's gonna be like a million movies. I'm just trying to list some of them that you would have might know. Let's see. Okay, well, there's one bad example here. I'm not gonna list it because I'm not saying all their works. It is okay. That would just be a movie issue. Didn't hold on. I think there was something else I thought would be here. Wait a minute. Hold on. Am I fibbing? Have they scored less than I thought? Wait a minute. And yeah, this
Yeah.
movie, but I thought I've
I
heard
just
them
see
in more stuff. I did. I mean, I love their score in Challengers. I adored it. It was like my
I
favorite
just
part
see
of that movie.
challengers,
But
that's all I see.
yeah, interesting. Okay, what the?
Yeah, that's all I
What?
see in
I feel like
challengers.
that's deeply. Let me check a different.
So
Okay,
you're
I'll keep
okay, we
scrolling
should we
as I
should
talk
we
about
should
the
move
movie.
on, but
But
you're like we
interesting.
should
But
move on, but you're like
yeah, no,
completely
I thought
wrong
that it was
about
very smart. Hold on, let me also look up Ludwig Göransson's cinematography because I swear to God
he did
that
Oppenheimer, he
I
did
would.
Sinners, he did
No, I know.
Tenet,
Yeah,
he did a lot.
he did do 10. Oh, well, he's done okay. Well, I guess he's done a lot more blockbuster stuff. So yeah, that makes or like a lot. More probably. Oh wait, maybe. This feels weird. I'm gonna look into this later, and then maybe I'll update next episode. There's this that list that they show, like the Google list, feel odd for Travis Atticus Ross's credits. I swear to God, I've seen their names and more things, but whatever. Okay, interesting. But no, I definitely think that, as you were mentioning, the framing device of having it cut back between the court case and not was kind of what made the movie, or that's definitely what kept it consistently engaging. Where this is such a funny comparison, like difference between this and Fantastic Four. This is a huge, stark contrast between these two movies. Where this one, it like the tension is there the entire time because you know it's going to get messed up from the start. Like they show you, it's instead of that movie where I'm like, the status quo will not change that much, nothing will happen. This one, you know for a fact that it will severely flip on its head from like the very start, but you don't know how. And that kind of the entire time it's leaving you thinking and considering things and trying to read into things and trying to interpret things. It gives you a reason from the very beginning to care and to think about it. It beckons you to think about what's happening. This is probably the biggest, most important thing I could say about like any movie is, does it make you think about it and care about it or not? Does it give you a reason to or not? And this movie 100% does. And it made me think about the decisions it was making with its dialogue, with its story, with its editing, with its cinematography, with its score, with its choices more, because I wanted to figure out what it was doing while I was watching it. And that's, again, that's like the most important thing to making a movie interesting to me, is that you need to give the why, and you need to give it pretty early, preferably. And this movie does, like, instantly. How it capitalizes on it is a different thing that I mostly think was also great, but that's not the selling point to me. But no, it was very consistently engaging, in large part because of that, for sure.
Yeah. I think like I don't know what to like. Everything like this movie's just I don't know what much to say, but like this movie's just like it's directed very very well. I'd like to think I, the characters are just
It's very
really
well
really
acted,
well.
I will say. Yeah, yeah,
It's very
yeah.
well acted. The characters are
On that
just
note,
in a very very
for sure.
it's a very very interesting story about how you get how getting more power means not only more responsibilities but more sacrifices you have to make, and how as a whole you get into a whole business where you're great you so many opportunities, and because you're this smart like Mark Zuckerberg and have this much potential, and you take advantage of it in multiple ways, but you also have to make giant sacrifices that you learn not to care about anymore. And I feel like that's what this movie is kind of hinting at in many ways. That's at least what I interpreted it as. But like the movie ended with a way with the idea of he does secretly care about it. He does secretly care about all the sacrifices he made along the way. He does secretly care about all the people, maybe not all the people he screwed over, but all the things he's done that maybe aren't the best thing. Because at the end of the movie, he's trying to convince himself that he's not a bad person. He's just, but and like that woman, I think I forgot exactly what she said, but I think she said, "I know." I'm not. I'm maybe or could be. I may be wrong, but like I like that kind of dichotomy at the very very end. It's like, is he really a bad person? Is he really that asshole that his first date at the beginning of the movie called him? Because he does shitty things, he does terrible things, but in the end, I feel like there's like this sense of want for something more than just that asshole persona, and it's very very interesting seeing how that like contrasts his complete bleak sorry bleak business attitude, bleak like bleak one of my favorite scenes is the movie is when he's talking to the Winklevoss twins in the whole in the whole court case, and how he finally admits that he does not give a crap. He doesn't care about their doesn't care about giving their attention. He doesn't want to give them anything because he's more focused on his company. He's more focused on what he wants to do, and he doesn't care about anything else that's stopping in the way because he knows he can overcome that because he knows he's that smart and does not care about anything. And I feel like that it's such an interesting way that they kind of dive deep into the character. There's just so much to talk about, and yeah, like I find it's kind of interesting like it's kind of interesting comparing him to the real Mark Zuckerberg. Like I don't know exactly how accurate it is and how accurate it's not. I do know this for sure that right now Eduardo and Zuckerberg are actually kind of made up. Like they actually kind of made up a couple years after the movie came out, and like
Oh, fun.
so they don't care anymore, but still good drama. But yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like I want to hear what you more have to say about this because like I've already like I don't have much to say about it because I'm just that impressed by this movie. Like it is. I don't know if it won any Oscars, but if it didn't, then it deserved like all the Oscars because like
It did
I
for score. I'm pretty sure. I think it won for score.
it didn't. What? Wait,
On that topic,
what
yeah.
beat it in screenplay?
It might have won score. I'm just saying that one. I'm pretty sure it won. But let me see. Network Oscars, because it might have, but let me check. I just know that it won that one, but let's
Yeah.
investigate here. Um, yeah, it won score. It won adapted screenplay. It won film editing. Really interesting. Okay.
Well, it won
And it
adapted
was
screenplay.
nominated for best picture, best director, best actor, cinematography. It was nominated for a whole lot of everything. But yeah, no, one adapted and one editing. Really? I didn't think there was anything that crazy there. That's
Oh,
interesting
the
to me.
editing's pretty good.
I mean that, and it's the Oscars, whatever. Again, I just thought it was normal.
It was
It wasn't a
nominated
huge
for
part of the
eight.
movie to
It
me.
was nominated for eight, and it won three: best adapted screenplay,
Yeah,
best
that's fun.
original score, and best film editing.
I'm like side eyeing this because we might get into the Oscars thoughts on a later episode, but whatever. Yeah, it does probably deserve some of that. I don't know what came. Hold on, what? Let's get there later. Whatever. It's the Oscars. I don't care. They're bad, but that's fun.
Well, it used to be.
But
Oh, by the way, I think my mistake. I
yes.
think it came out 2010, not
Mm,
2013. But who cares?
yeah, that sounds right. Okay, but no, yeah, I think the reason I don't have an ultra crazy amount of sound is that this to me is not a super think about it after the fact type movie where I think it ended. I just thought it was pretty like unsubtle, but pretty much the whole time in terms of what it was saying thematically. I thought it was pretty overt. Again, it was presented and getting to that point, and throughout the movie, it leads you to think about a lot and think about specific characters. That's kind of the main thing, is still thinking about specific characters at this point. But in terms of what it was like going for in general, I didn't think it was. I thought it was pretty clear, which means that like I compared to some other movies, which one of which we'll get to next episode, where it's much more tricky to figure out exactly what it's doing. Where here it's like, yeah, I get it. So I don't have as much to say on that note. I will say I like how it was presented, though. I actually really like the ending shot of him kind of keep clicking the we did say spoilers of him like clicking the friend thing over and over and refresh, and how he's like at this point where it's like kind of revealed that that's really what he cares about. Like that's where his head is at the end of the day, despite trying to get the status and this exclusivity of trying to get this like to be in this elite club that not that many people could get into, and that he doesn't care about that. At the end of the day, he can't even get one friend that he's like desperately trying to get. That's a really fun visual kind of communicator for that. That was really cute. That was a fun shot. I like that. But a lot of things like that where I just thought there were fun ways to communicate these things. Again, I thought it was consistently interesting while watching it. I don't have many complaints with it. I thought it was fun. I think the script is the more interesting thing with it, along with the score, were kind of my main upsides for it. It was, I don't know how to describe. I would describe it as a normal good movie. I thought it was fun. I was engaged. I liked it. There you go. That's where my head's at.
So I also don't have much else to say about it. Just that it's like really, really good. Like I see what you mean, but like yeah. Is this it for both of us? I guess.
I guess that's
Yeah.
interesting.
No.
I
Like
don't know. I
it.
mean,
It's
again, I think I will bring back the acting was I would because I think I might have said this in the last spot. I forgot if I did or not. But when you brought this movie up, I might have mentioned how I have not seen a Jesse Eisenberg performance that I was super into before. Just before that point, he did really well in this movie. I thought there were a lot of. It probably helps that the character might have fit him very well in terms of how most of just what his acting was doing was kind of subtle, like just how he was mannered. A lot of the time, he delivered a lot of his lines in similar ways, and his facial expressions were doing a lot of the heavy lifting. But I thought with him, Andrew Garfield, Armie Hammer, Justin Timberlake, I thought they were all really. The casting was good for them, just in terms of communicating what the character's presence or what the script was asking of those characters. I felt it was really well, kind of, it was a good decision for all of them. But I also thought that they were just really well acted consistently. And Armie Hammer played two people. That was fun. That I didn't know
oh
that
yeah.
was a thing that was going to be in this movie, but that
Speaking
was
of which,
cool. That was
yeah,
cute. That was
the
fun.
twins were awesome in this movie. I actually thought the twins were like. I love that whole dichotomy of where they were just like they both him one of the twins and then the other extra person I forgot his name, but they wanted to like sue Mark Zuckerberg like bring the fight to him. Meanwhile, the other one was like still trying to hold on to that gentlemanly Harvard feel, and then they get like completely slapped
That
in
was
the face when
cute.
they meet the dean of Harvard, and like once again the dialogue there is just genius, and I love how they're holding on to hope until like the very end when they finally just give up and they're just like, okay, fine, let's sue his ass, and like oh, there's just like yeah, you're right. Like there's not it's not saying much thematically, but like it's just on a practical level, on the screenplay level, it's just it's such a well-told story with once again, I don't think I've ever seen a screenplay that good ever in my life. Like I genuinely don't. So like
That's
I
interesting.
found it kind of interesting how you said Charlie Kaufman was like your favorite screenwriter or whatever, or am I wrong?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like with that main
Screenwriter,
movie.
100%.
I thought that was an interesting movie. That I thought it was a unique, cool movie. But like for me, this movie's like it's straight to the point, but it also feels genuine and feels like these people are like talking and like would say it like this, but also like this constant intense feeling of like you're getting involved in something more and more and more, and you have this feeling you know like there's going to be sacrifices along the way, and you don't know what it's going to be, what it's going to entail, but you kind of don't care anymore, and that's kind of just interesting to me, and I really love that, but yeah, I don't have
I guess
much else
that
to
just
say.
that difference in view on that just comes down to a different like a
Yeah,
difference in philosophy when it comes to what makes an
you like
interesting
weirder
screenplay.
movies. You like
Yeah, I
weirder
like
movies.
stuff that where I look at it and I one say I've never seen this before. What the hell? Like that. That's what I want to see. Like largely when I'm watching a movie. And two, I really like when I think about it for a while. When I don't understand it immediately and I need to think on it more after I've seen it and maybe even watch it again. I love movies where again I like when it beckons you to think more about it where again this one does while you're watching it. I like when it does both when you're watching it and after where it's like I want to fully understand it, I have a reason to want to fully understand it, and it has the clues there to make me think more on it and dig more into it and try to interpret it further. That's what I really value. And so yeah, that is why I would prefer a lot of Charlie Kaufman's movies scripts over something like this, or not even just like the screenplay. Why I'd find that stuff more interesting. I think this is completely successful for what it's trying to do, though. Like 100%. It's just that what it's going for is just more standard, and that is inherently not
Well,
as much what
it's
I
not
value.
standard. It's a unique story. It's an adaptation of an actual story, and the way it does it is
Well,
just
yeah,
so
it's also an adaptation of something kind of real, which inherently makes it more grounded and normal. I guess is
yeah,
part of it.
makes sense. I mean, yeah, maybe later throughout this whole like later couple podcasts later, there are two like Christopher Nolan movies that I think maybe would challenge like you for not
Ooh,
only an
okay.
amazing screenplay, but like something that you'll actually think about more often, like later on. But
Mm,
yes, they're Christopher Nolan movies, and I love Christopher Nolan, so I feel like that will be very interesting to explore.
okay, okay.
I still think, I guess, like Christopher Nolan and Aaron Sorkin are still like my favorite screenwriters ever. But yeah. So I guess to wrap it up, amazing, fantastic movie. Would absolutely recommend, and I think it's my first 10 out of 10. I'm not like holding back.
Ooh, okay.
I can't find anything wrong with this movie. Genuinely, I can't. It's such an immersive experience. The acting is good, the editing's great. Like the screenplay, you are locked in. You don't even know entirely what's going on. Like even someone who doesn't know entirely what's actually happening is still like hooked in and wants to watch it. Like I showed it to my sister, and she's like not always like always interested in complex movie, but even she wanted to know what was happening because the dialogue was that good, and it just keeps you going. It like the cadence of it is really fascinating. And I don't know how Aaron Sorkin does it, but like I am hooked from the beginning and I cannot finish it. And I can't stop watching it. So yes, this is my first 10 out of 10 movie because I genuinely can't figure out I can't think about one that's wrong anything that's wrong with it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I'm not quite to that level, mainly because again, I think it's fun is my main. I guess
It's
what
just
I'd say
fun.
about it. I it's very fun even. It's cool even. I think that I mean again more normal. Not I would say that it's just compared to some other things, it's slightly less like fascinating. guess I'd put it in some of the decisions it's making, but I think it's very purposeful in what it's focusing on. I think it's consistently engaging and interesting, and I was into it like the whole time. Um, I left being like, yeah, that was cool. Not sure how much I'll pontificate on it as time goes on, but it was fun. It was cool. It was a good time. It was interesting. It was purposeful in the decisions it was making. I think I originally I literally just updated my rating on Letterboxd as I was thinking about it more. I'm still wishy washy here. It is either currently I have it as an 8 out of 10. I guess I'd say maybe a little closer to a 7 than a 9, if anything. I originally had it at a 7, like a high 7, but I bumped it up to an 8 because I agree where I don't think it's failing at anything it's trying to do. Really, I can't poke many holes in it. I was just like less probably emotionally impacted, but or like a super to the same extent invested with it as you probably were, which is the only reason why it's not quite as high for me. But yeah, I don't really have many complaints about it. It was a great time. It was fun. It was a good recommendation for sure.
Okay, so as the end of this podcast and next podcast, it's Kai's turn for a recommendation movie.
It
So
is
yeah,
very okay. Yeah, so very different vibe. For a lot of the movies we've done so far, if not kind of all of them, have been relatively serious, at least tonally. I mean, obviously some of them have been superhero joints, so they're more like comedic or lighter, but a lot more that kind of vibe generally. So let's spice something up with something a little more comedic, a little more goofy, a little more silly. So I am recommending Scott Pilgrim versus the World on 2010, directed by Edgar Wright. I watched this movie pretty recently after I knew the premise for a very long time because I know about the show. I've not seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. So I was curious because it seemed fun. I didn't even know if it would be like fun, bad, fun, good. I had no idea. It just seemed fun and clearly interesting enough for a lot more stuff to be based on it later. I ended up really liking this movie when I saw it. It's very fun. It's funny. It's a I guess action comedy. It's the vibe. Emphasis on the comedy over the action. I it had a very fun kind of premise, tone, energy to it. I'm very curious to what your thoughts are going to be on it. I'm curious to kind of have an opportunity to think on it more and dissect it more because I think that it's deceptively purposeful with the choices it's making in almost every regard. And I think it's a very unique and interesting and fun experience in its own right. And I really had a good time with it. I'm curious to see what our thoughts are going to be on it and how they'll differ and what will happen there.
yeah. The only thing I'll have to say about that is that I actually really, really enjoy Edgar Wright a lot. I think he's a really, really fun director. He's directed
Yippee.
Last Night, and he's directed a lot of movies that I really, really loved. He's directed Hot Fuzz, which is a really, really funny movie. He's directed Last Night in Soho. He's directed Baby Driver. All three movies I genuinely really, really love, and all three movies with very, very different genres. So actually, Baby Driver and Hot Fuzz are a bit similar, but like Last Night in Soho is like really, really interesting. There's like he's a very, very famous director, and I've heard Scott Pilgrim versus the World is like his own kind of different world. So yeah, I'm excited to watch it. And yeah, that's the end of this podcast, Fantastic Four and Social Network. Hope to see you guys next time.